And welcome into Pigskin Picks here on 302 Sports, week number 7. And first of all, our Pigskin Picks are brought to you by Compete Event Management. They run wrestling tournaments throughout the state and even have an apparel line that you can personalize for your tournament. Not looking to run an event, but looking for competition. Compete events are where you want to be. They're well run and organized. And their next upcoming event is Sunday, October 19th at Salesianum. It's Halloween Havoc. And Marty, my friend, you drew the short stick, buddy.
Oof, this is
This is a tough slate.
it's a beast.
I actually had two games that I just picked 5 minutes before we went on, and I have four I don't feel good about. So
This is
let's
a
get
tough
it
slate
started.
this week. Good week.
Yes, it was. I mean, it's great for high school football.
Yep.
So let's get started. Week number 7, Trey Mitchell, 5-1 Newark Charter, 6-1 Seaford.
Yeah, this is a game we could see Thanksgiving weekend. I'm sure Brandywine might have something to say about that, but the winner of this game most likely will be a district champion and be the 1 or 2 seed in the state tournament. They both played Christiana. It's the only common opponent. They both put up over 40 points on them. I've been really impressed with Seaford's offense this year. I think them at home, they're going to find a way to get it done. I'm going to go Seaford.
Marty, two top hot teams in Class 1A.
Very much so. Yeah. And if anybody hasn't seen Seaford quarterback Vince Evans highlights, you've got to check them out. The guy is like, they're the highlights you see them show on an NFL Sunday when they're showing a kid how he used to dominate in high school. It's like a man among boys when he starts getting going. And apparently he didn't play last year or wasn't going to play this year or got talked into it, but he's been fantastic. Uh, Newark Charter is they're 1-1 against 2A schools. They lost to Odessa, beat Tatnall, who's really down. Seaford is 2-1 against 2A, lost to IR, of course, but then they beat Laurel, beat Polytech. I just feel like Seaford has more of an advantage here. It's a Friday 6 o'clock game down there. This just feels like Seaford is on such a roll right now, and they've got much more experience. Seaford wins this one.
Yeah, playing on Dowd Field or Dowd Stadium on Dickerson Field, uh, with the pride that's coming back in the Seaford program is big. But the Patriots are the new kids on the block, and they're making a statement in their first year of varsity football. Seaford appears to be a team of destiny this year. It's been 42 years since they hung a banner in the nylon capital. The Blue Jays are going to be a tough out the rest of the way. I'm taking Seaford in this one. So let's move to a 2A game, 5-1 Odessa versus 4-2 Red Line Friday night, Trey.
Yeah, while Class 2A District 3 may be the toughest, this district here may be the most competitive. You got these two teams, Odessa and Red Lion, plus DMA and St. Mark's, who had rough starts but are playing some pretty good football right now. This district's up for grabs, and this is a key game in that race for the district title. And not all four of these teams are making the tournament, maybe only two of them. Odessa and Red Lion, their only common opponents are Milford and McKean. Um, Odessa put a lot more points up on Milford, but then Red Lion put about almost 20 more points on McKean than Odessa did. So, they can both score. When that's the case, I'm going to take the home team that's going to get a stop and keep scoring. I'm going to go Red Lion.
Marty, Red Line and Odessa.
Red Line has an interesting schedule. They were outscored 94-24 by Sal's and Caravel. I bet you they're not going to take that schedule again next year. They haven't allowed a point since. It's 190-0, though the best team they've played is Milford, and Milford is showing us that they're not going to be a playoff team. Odessa, they got blown out by IR on opening night, and I thought, oh, here we go again with Nick Tagati. It's going to be a struggle. They have turned it around. 5 straight wins. With one more win, they'll set the school record. Of course, it only goes back 5 years. Cooper Curran, the quarterback, 12 TD passes. Nakai Hahn and Isaiah Melton have done great work out of the backfield. Xavier Terrell has been a great target for Curran. I'm going to go here with the defense that I feel like is stronger. And Odessa has shown me more on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm going to go Odessa.
The Ducks have been on a roll since their season opening loss against IR, who still remains unbeaten. They should be healthy and fresh entering this game off that bye week. But they go on the road where Red Line can beat you in the air with Evan Budinger or on the ground with Judah Barber. I like the Lions' early gains prepared them for Friday night. The Red Line, I think, gets the win here and extends their win streak to 5 games. The Battle of the Bell, 6-0 Lake Forest, 2-4 Milford. Trey, who you got?
Each week we have Lake Forest on our slate. I've talked about how well-rounded they are, and last Saturday they left no doubt. They have so many weapons on offense with A.J. White, Demarion Russ, who's also a wrestler, Isaiah Wright, Navon Pierce, and Jack Parsons. So basically it's pick your poison. Yeah, they're just putting points up. Now, They had a struggle a few weeks ago, so going into Milford, I don't think they can't overlook Milford by any means. It is the Battle of the Bell, but I think Lake Forest is in the Milford and wins.
Marty, I've broadcast two battles of the bells, and the team I picked lost in both of them, and I thought it was clear given. This game, this is a literal throw the records out.
You know what? It is, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with the battle for the bell is going to turn into the beatdown from hell because Lake Forest is on a roll. Milford has struggled mightily. Their whole offense, and this isn't a bad thing, is the running back, and he's been fantastic. They don't have any quality wins right now. They're not able to throw the ball. Lake Forest is doing everything right now. As Trey said, Jack Parson, he can throw the ball, he can run the ball. They've got four running backs. I don't know. It's so funny. Every week they have a guy with 4 carries for 190 yards and 6 touchdowns. You're like, how do these numbers add up here? They're just phenomenal right now. And I think I talked to Josh Webb, their offensive coordinator this week, and he basically said, or defense coordinator, excuse me, and said they're not looking past anybody, and I just feel like they're going to be revved up for this game. It's Lake Forest all the way here.
I've done, like I said, many Battle of the Bells, and the underdog has won in several cases, and sometimes won big. Lake Forest, though, has that bruising 63 to win over Delmar last week, while Milford dropped their second straight game, and meanwhile, their offense has kind of disappeared. They have not scored an offensive touchdown in 2 weeks. Lake Forest continues to light that scoreboard up. The Spartans need to stay focused on this week and not look ahead for that looming showdown with Indian River. Lake Forest wins the bell on Friday night. We're going to move upstate. This is a interesting one. Saturday 11, 6-0 Concord versus 4-2 Newark. Two schools that were AA last year. Now they're fighting for a single A title.
Yeah, big non-district game, but not a lot of pressure since both these teams still have a chance to win their respective districts. Concords had 2 close wins over Delcastle and McKean, and those kind of wins are character builders, man. They can really bring a team together. Hard fought wins. And Newark has back-to-back shutouts, which is it's a good thing because the Yellow Jackets haven't generated a lot of offense. You take the DuPont game out, they're only averaging 12.5 points a game, which is fine when you only allow 7. And then with that being said, looking at our records here, I'm gonna take the minor upset with Newark at home. I like a tough defense at home. I think they find a way to get it done.
And the fans are filling those bleachers back on Delaware Avenue. Marty, who do you got?
This one's odd too. This Concord is 6-0, but it feels like they've had to come from behind in every game. They've done everything possible to squeak out a win, so I give them all the credit in the world. Newark, Teran Rice has done a great job there. I thought this was going to get off to one of those seasons where we see them struggle over and over again, but they've been playing really good defense. They held Newark Charter to nearly 3 touchdowns less than their season average. They lost that game 7-0. Concord's opponents are 7-29. There's a lot of empty calories there. I'm going to go with the home team in Newark. They played well against Brandywine. They played really well against Newark Charter. Those two teams have more wins combined than the entire schedule on Concord's side of the ball. So I'm going to go with Newark at home.
And Concord came from behind down 13-0 last Thursday and dealt McKean that 16-13 loss to get them to 6-0 in the season. Newark pitched their second straight shutout. This is the first big test of Concord, I think. Newark is battle tested, having lost but competitive games with Newark Charter and Brandywine. Those losses were early in the season. The Raider season is not over, but I think the undefeated season will be. I like Newark to win here. I think it's going to be a razor close game with the home field advantage. And here we go. Let's get it started with some of the big kickoffs. Friday night, 7 o'clock, the defending 2A champions against the defending 3A champions. 4-1 Caravel, 3-3 Middletown. Trey?
Yeah, who's the pressure on this game? Caravel, they struggled with CR a couple weeks ago, won on a last minute touchdown, and then they went toe to toe with with Appoquinimink, who we know has an incredible offense. And in Middletown, they test themselves early in the year. They get that really close win with Smyrna. So I mean, who's going to prove themselves this week? I like Middletown at home. I think the defending champs are going to find a way to get done.
Marty, I think this game could come down to defense.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. Caravel, boy, welcome to 3A. Appo last week, Middletown this week. Middletown's out-of-state competition was second to none. It was absolutely incredible. Their in-state competition is a little tricky. Their best win was a loss to Smyrna. Let's face it, they lost that game. It got, because of certain things, they got the win. With Caravel, they're going to have to throw the ball. They went 0 for 4 throwing the ball last week. That Matt Rice is going to have to put the ball in the air because there's no way that Josh Roy is going to run through Jack Wilson and those guys all night long. They're going to stop him at some point. I think Middletown is just now starting to get things together. Darian Cunningham is on a roll. He's coming off a 5 TD performance. Second week in a row, Caravel is facing one of the top quarterbacks in the state. I feel like Middletown's just too much on the defensive side of the ball for this one as well.
Now, this was a tricky one. Caravel played probably better than expected last week. They proved they belong in 3A and maybe even a contender. I believe the Cavaliers saw what Caravel did last week and will come in laser focused. Give me Middletown an exciting defensive battle. It's a 2A game. We'll have this game on Saturday, myself and Jim Tack. Saturday kickoff at noon. It's Laurel's homecoming as 4-2 Archmere comes to town. Trey, Archmere, Laurel.
Yeah, Michael Donovan has combined for over 800 yards passing and rushing with 6 touchdowns for Archmere. And, Laurel struggled at times here against the run. But Archmere's been inconsistent with wins over DMA and a loss to St. Mark's. So, this is a toss-up game, in my opinion. And other than Indian River, Laurel's defense has been great. They've kept themselves in games. They're another team that they don't need to score a lot. They just need to beat you by a touchdown. Their defense is going to hold up. They have a great kicker in Brian Gonzalez Rivera. Kind of stick with my theme. I like the defense at home. I think it's going to be a really hard-fought game, but Laurel likes their Saturday afternoon games. I'm going to go Laurel.
Marty, Laurel, they hang around in games.
They do. I got to keep my streak alive. I'm like the Washington State flag on College game day. Every time Michael Donovan's mentioned, I have to mention he's my cousin. He's been phenomenal for them this year. He started out at quarterback, and then Orsini came back and enabled them to move Donovan around the field and get him the ball. He's been really explosive. Noah Blessington and Ryan Hagenberg have been phenomenal on defense. Now, Benny, answer me this. Laurel plays a lot of Friday night games, right?
Correct.
Why are they playing this game at noon on Saturday? It's homecoming.
About 10 years ago, they moved homecoming to Saturday, and they have a Friday night parade, and it's like a carnival out there on Saturday.
This is the difference in the game for me. I'm going to go against Trey here on this one. Archmere is what plays every Saturday morning, every Saturday afternoon. They're not used to playing at night. This plays right into their hands. They're going to get on a long bus ride, but that's fine. They're always up early on Saturdays anyway. I think Archmere gets out of the gate quick and holds off Laurel on this one.
3 losses in Class 2A is going to put you on the bubble for the state tournament. Both these teams are facing that on Saturday. I've been to most of the recent Laurel homecoming games. It's a day-long party with fans arriving early and staying late. They'll be honoring the 1985 Henlopen South Championship team and state runner-up. There's going to be a sea of red there on Saturday at noon. Laurel is 9-1 since they moved the homecoming game to Saturday. They make that 10 this year.
I didn't need to hear that.
So let's move to maybe the big one this weekend. 4-2 Salesianum, 5-1 Appoquinimink. Friday night, Glenn Frazier will have the call. Trey?
Yeah, Class 3A is clear as mud right now. But I think this game is going to potentially give us a front runner or not. Both teams have a lot to prove here Friday night. After losing last year's state title in overtime, Sally's on a mission to show they're the best team in the state. And Appoquinimink is the Rodney Dangerfield of football in Delaware, no respect. 2 years ago, they beat Middletown in Week 10. 3 years ago, they beat Sally's in Week 10, and both on the road, yet they're always the underdog. Is this a new year? We know Appoquinimink can score, but from the people I've talked to, I haven't, don't get upstate too much I'm tight with the CR coaches and stuff. I'm talking to a couple other coaches around the state. Sally's has a pretty legit defense, and kind of with my theme all night, I think that defense is going to find a way to get them a win. I'm going to go Sally's.
Marty, not only is Appo always the underdog in big games, they're a pesky dog. They'll get after anybody.
They will, and they've been good this year. They've thrown the ball really well. The one area where I didn't think they would struggle, but they have, is the running game. They ran for, I think, 250 yards in their first game against Dover this season. They've run for 250 yards in the 4 games combined since. They've really struggled to run the ball. They're counting more and more on Desai Drummond, who's just been phenomenal. But that receiving core, you got Monabel, you got Rogers, you got Drummond. There's so many weapons all around. But I think the difference in this game is going to be the Sally's D. Here's a stat for you. Sally's has 9 non-offensive TDs this season. After the 9 offensive TDs, they've also got 3 block punts and 2 safeties. Odell Teal may be one of the most underrated players in the state. He's blocked both punts for them this year. Brady Knabb, to me, on tape, he's gotten better and better each week. He's getting more and more confidence. This seems to be how it works with Gene Deladon and his quarterbacks. They get off to slow starts, but they slowly get a feel for the offense. They've got a ton of athletes. I just feel like in the end, there's too much Salesianum defense. Salesianum takes this one.
Appo's been creeping up in those rankings this season. An explosive first half by Howard is what kept the Jaguars from a perfect season. Since then, they've outscored their opponents 100-28. But Caravel was able to slow that offense down a bit. Now, number one ranked Salesianum comes to town with wins over the District 2 powers, Sussex Central and Smyrna. Again, I'm going to go with your theme, guys. Defense wins this game. I'm taking Salesianum. And finally, our Friday night downstate game of the week, I'll have the call with Jim Tack, as I'll be doing double duty this week. 3-3 Sussex Central, 3-3 Cape Henlopen. Trey.
Yeah, these two teams have been having up and down seasons. I think that's evident. They both have 3-3 records, evident with their record. I think this game's going to determine about which Cape Henlopen or which Sussex Central team is going to show up. They both seem to be Jacqueline High. They got two of them. Does the Cape Henlopen team that was routed by Appo show up, or will it be the one that went blow for Smyrna? Will it be Sussex Central that was thumped by Sally's and Hodgson, or will it be the one that went toe-to-toe with Middletown? I mean, the only common opponent is Hodgson, which Central, they lost by 10. Cape put it on Hodgson. That kind of had us, kind of had me scratch my head, kind of confusing what two teams were looking at, but, kind of on the theme of defense. I've always loved what Central does on defense. So I'm going to take them in a minor upset here to go into Cape. I think their defense finds a way to get a stop, and they control the clock like they always do and get in the end zone. I'm going to go Sussex Central.
Marty, this is a little known rivalry game of 50 some years.
This is a fun game. I agree with Trey. This is like these two teams are Jekyll and Hyde this season. Both teams, you could arguably say their best performances came in losses. Sussex Central, 21-14 to Middletown. They almost won that one. And then Cape took Smyrna to the limit in that game, hurt by a late fumble. Jamison Tingle is really starting to come into his own in that game. 4 touchdown passes through the air, one through the one on the ground. It just feels to me like Cape Henlopen with Chip Knapp is on more of a mission this year. I just feel like with Jamison Tingle, he's starting to get things in line now where that offense is really starting to click. Sussex Central just feels a little down to me right now. So I'm going to go again with the minor upset too and take Cape Henlopen.
This is a border rivalry game that it's never had a title, but it has plenty of emotion to a game that neither team wants to lose. No title, no trophy, just pride for the two communities that make up Cape Henlopen and Sussex Central. This could very well be an elimination game down the road, or not. The loser could be looking at a 7th or 8th seed in the state tournament. Both still have Caesar Rodney and St. George's left on the schedule. This Cape Henlopen team is senior heavy, facing a young Sussex Central team that had to replace a lot of parts from last year. This may be Cape's best chance to get them. Over the last 10 years, Sussex Central has won 9 of the 10 regular season games. But I'm going to go against my alma mater. I don't do it very often, but I'm going to lean Cape Henlopen here, playing on their home turf. But that's like you said, Marty. I have a funny feeling about this game. We kind of expect the Cape ground and pound versus the Vikings spread, but I just could see somebody doing something different and changing everything. So usually I ask Marty, what game would you go to? That wouldn't be fair this week. So your opinion on just the slate of games this week?
It's incredible this week. I mean, once we get into district play, you start to see these great matchups. And even as Trey pointed out, the one non-district matchup we talked about, which was Newark and Concord, is a great matchup. One of those teams is going to establish a lot of momentum going forward. But this year, it just seems so crazy that 2A, 3A, 1A. I mean, 3A, there's 5 legitimate title contenders right now, you could say, based on the results. And you can order them any way you want, but based on the results, I'd say there's about 5. 2A, you've got, to me, there's a few different. You've got Howard at the top. Then your next tier is Lake Forest. and Indian River. And then you kind of got a little gap and then some other teams, but those other teams are still capable. I think Archmere is very much capable of pulling an upset of some of those teams. And then 1A, my God, if it's not Seaford, you can throw a dart at a board because everybody is wide open there. Seaford would seem to have the inside edge. But again, this has been a fun season. No one has really, aside from Howard, that is, no one has really said, okay, no matter who you put on the field with us, any class, we're going to blow them away. So this is a lot of fun. This weekend's fantastic.
Trey, your thoughts on the weekend? The fans better put their seatbelts on this week.
Hey, man, as a coach in another sport, this is it's just good for Delaware football. It's just good to see so much competition, so many young athletes that hopefully go on to the next level. I just can't say enough. It's just good for our state. It's good for the sport of football. It's just as a fan, it's almost like we're tuning in the game day on Saturday, man. Look at this slate. Like you just want to so many games you want to watch. So it's exciting stuff.
Yeah,
Hey, Benny, you know
Mark,
what's funny too? A couple weeks ago, there was so much excitement. We had James Franklin in the state going to Caravel and Appo just to show how much things change in the football world. All of a sudden, there is no James Franklin anymore, and these kids are wide open in their commitment. So it's been a crazy season all around.
Mark, I think you and I both back when they went to the three-class system. We kind of,
Yep.
and now we're saying it's a good idea.
This was a good idea. I agree 100%. I was very much on your side with, you know what, this is too many for this number of teams, but it has reinvigorated so many of those smaller programs, Ben, and you've seen it,
Right.
the schools downstate too. It's been phenomenal. Seaford, it could be top of the list for what it's revitalized their program and the school spirit there. I love it.
Right. Folks, see you at kickoff on Friday night. Again, we're brought to you by Compete Event Management. Get out to Salesianum and get on the mats this weekend. Folks, see you at kickoff.